Hi, what's good? Welcome to the Truth Unveiled 2.0. This is Drew Keaton and my man Troy Buggs. What's good, Troy?
What's up, brother? What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I miss you, man. I ain't seen you in a couple of weeks, man. I know
Man,
you've been busy.
I was up there with you last week. Then the situation happened. Then I ended up leaving where I was at, and my phone wouldn't let me log on the other time. And the other time I was in New York working with my job. But I was kind of glad I was up there last week with y'all with that weather, the way the weather was in Texas. So I had to deal with that.
Yeah. So listen, I apologize. We're gonna have Eva on, Ali on, and we're gonna have Dwayne Hendricks on next week. And we were gonna talk about the masculinity of and success of hip hop. How it's gonna be a deep show though, because we're gonna no holds no holds, no at what I say, no bars hold, no punches hold. And then we got some insight that a lot of people don't have. And we're gonna give you some information. We're gonna tell you like people who made it big, why they made it big, and what they had to do to make it big. And then there's some insight. So we're gonna get into that next week though. Yeah. But what's going on? What happened with Texas, man? I'm hearing a whole bunch of stuff that,
Texas, when you leave the city, is real rural.
Right.
Like a lot of white people live in trailers, and even when you go to the hood in the cities, a lot of the people live in shotgun houses.
Mm-hmm.
So my house, my kids, everybody was at my house when I was up there with y'all. My backyard waterfall froze. You know what I'm saying? My home was only a couple years old though. So a lot of people that live in them shotgun houses that you got to put towels up under the door and all that froze. They froze. They did, and then they was doing the electric. They was rolling the electricity. But if you lived in good neighborhoods, like my kids, like the power never cut off. So they didn't roll electricity in tax paying and big tax paying communities. So that's what the whole thing is about. But Texas is on their own grid. So they thought they were going to be able to make it. That shit was like outdated by like 15 years. Why it was like they never thought that was going to happen. They just going to roll with it like they've been rolling with it.
Right.
And you seen the pictures?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was shocked because I'm like, this is, you hearing all the conspiracy stuff, and then you had 4 people from the electric company, 5 board members resign, right? And this week, right?
Yeah, because it's this wasn't supposed to happen. So the big freeze uncovered a lot of stuff that they wasn't doing. So since the electric is not governed by the government, they was doing what the hell they wanted to do.
Wow. Do you think this was planned? Like in your estimation, you think it was planned, or it was just it just shed light on to what they wasn't doing in the beginning?
Just shed light on something happened that didn't happen in 50 years. And it, it just uncovered a lot of BS.
Right, but y'all don't get snow like that
No. The last time it snowed, the worst winter we had was the Super Bowl weekend, where it froze up. I was stuck on 35, and I was in my 18-wheeler. I was stuck on 35 about 10 hours. Then they opened up northbound to go back to Oklahoma, and I ended up staying at the casino in Oklahoma for a couple of days.
That ain't bad. That's when I seen when you posted. You must have hit them hard too when you was
there. Yeah. So it's everything back to normal now. Today was yesterday was like 80 degrees, but people, I went to Oklahoma today. They still don't have water. Like I brought the McDonald's up there like 50 cases of Dasani water because they still on a boil ban. So
and that's in would you say Oklahoma?
Yeah, Oklahoma. It's in did you watch the Thurgood Marshall movie?
No, I did see the movie, but I don't vaguely. I remember certain
Okay,
things.
well, he tried a case in the beginning of the movie in Hugo, Oklahoma. And that's
Okay.
where I was at today. That was where I was at Hugo, Oklahoma today.
Now is that's next to Texas, so are they on the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
grid
yeah.
too?
Oklahoma and Texas is right there.
No, but I'm saying where you went, is that, are they part of the same grid too when it comes to
No,
the?
no, Oklahoma got their own grid. I think Texas is the only state that like we don't want y'all to govern our electricity. We got it down here. So they got
Yeah.
off the government grid. You know what I'm saying? But they did that so they could get that money. Because like with us, Encore's the big electric company. But you got 50 other electric companies. You know what I'm saying? You could call like people like you get electric companies call you all day. I drop your rate by 2 cents if you come to us.
Right.
So we
Right.
got so many electric companies now here. And the company I deal with is Champion. And I deal with Champion because they use the wind power electric. We got the big windmills down there that generate electricity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you ever go to California and drive into there, they got all those windmills. We got a lot of them windmills here.
Yeah. I see they would talk. Actually, when you go to the Cape, they have them.
Yeah.
In the Cape, and when you go down to Atlantic City and all that, they.
Yeah.
I think Atlantic City is one of the first states to have them to test
Oh,
it,
yeah.
to test them out, and you know, it takes a lot of the companies out with those windmills.
Yeah. And see, what's big right here now is the solar thing. Like
Right.
my neighbor just got his solar panels up. He's like, you might as well go in and get it. But I'm thinking about doing it, but I don't. I got to research it more because I don't want the hail. Because we get hail down here.
Right.
I don't want the hail to hit and tear that up, and now I got to do all that and be out of more money.
So your neighbor, when did you lose? You didn't really lose power.
No,
You said
I didn't lose power at all. My kids, because I kept calling and checking on them. The only thing they lost hot water for a day. And I was like, I don't see how y'all lost hot water because I guess because I got two tanks, one hot and one cold, and they must have just stopped sending water to the hot water tank because I don't see how the gas or nothing didn't cut off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So they just was out of hot water for like a day. They had to boil all the water and all that type of stuff.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool, man. I was wondering what's going on though, and get a perspective of somebody who lives in Texas.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing stuff that Ted Cruz didn't vote for this, so they turned off the this. I'm hearing that he has something to do with it. I'm hearing one thing we do know, it was political. It's just we don't, when they do these things, it's covered up at such a like it's always mass cover-ups when these things happen that we don't never get the bottom of it, but the people that's involved know what's happening. Because it was funny though, I was watching something on that's somebody had produced pretty quickly, and the person who run the company was talking about they had it under control, and then they interviewed him again, and he was like, "Well, it's we good, and we didn't expect it to happen this way." And then the next day, 5 people resigning, the executives resigning. So, are they resigning because of lawsuits or?
They resigning because they didn't have that shit in order. So they're gonna get fired. Anyway, they're gonna use them as scapegoats anyway. So I mean, so everybody got to act like they're making shit happen now. So we got people resigning. We're gonna hire new people because they never anticipated on this to happen. You understand? Like I left the day of when the 135 car pileup happened. I was driving to the airport that day, and I seen wrecks on my way to the airport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody in like the news the day before or that night, because I checked my flight. I was like, shit, let me make sure my flight's still right. And my flight was still good. I drove right to the airport. I see people crashing, speeding. And no, it wasn't like we're about to get this massive storm. Nobody, it was like the way it hit Texas. And normally when it hit Texas, we might get it in Dallas, Fort Worth. But Houston and Waco and them, they're good.
My bag. Okay, my bag. I'm back.
Yeah, Houston, you clicked up for. Like, we might get it up here, but down south is good. This time it covered the whole state. You know what I'm saying? So people in poor Houston, they get it bad with floods, hurricanes.
Right.
So the winter really hit them.
Wow. I'm trying. Go ahead, Troy, talk. I'm trying to adjust this thing with the shows and stuff. So.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question and to switch it up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
How you feel about the press conference with the nephew of the cop with the Malcolm X thing?
I think I'm gonna take this approach as you can see me. You still can see me, right?
Yeah, I can see.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'm gonna take the approach as this. It's always if I come out, I'm gonna come.
Okay. He'll be back, y'all. We're gonna finish this conversation. I want my boy Lucius Smith.
I'm about to say that now.
Come on,
all right. So this is what I think about it. The guy that was locked up, I can't figure his name, was saying this the whole time.
It was Thomas Haya. It's 3 dudes locked up, and one said he was down, and the other 2 said they wasn't there.
Yeah, one of the guys, I think it was the Thomas guy. One of them said that he pointed out to this dude and said this dude did it. And he was the one that they took and locked up. Yeah. And they've been telling, and see, they knew all of this stuff. So my whole thing is so you got movies out, you got the whole thing with Malcolm X, and you got the Black Messiah, Judah and the Black Messiah. Yeah. And it shows you how the FBI infiltrated these organizations, and these brothers' consciences play on. And the only sad part about all of this is he was dying on his deathbed with cancer.
Yeah.
And now, son, he want to make this huge, big confession.
Yeah.
Of what happened and how he want to tell his whole story. Mm-hmm. So my whole thing about it is, if it's buying and indicting you, why don't you just say something back again?
Yeah.
Now one of those brothers, who is it? One of those brothers that was down with Geronimo Pratt and them out in California. Mm-hmm. That when was it Joseph Iota, the Chinese guy, got into the Black Panthers with the gun, he came right out and said, "Yo, that dude's FBI informant."
Yeah,
and dropped everything on. Mm-hmm. and they were like, "Well, how do you know all of that?" He was like, "Because he just arrested some people in another case over when we was dealing with the Latinos and the Mexicans."
Yeah.
And what they did is they silenced the dude. They silenced him. I think they took his house away. They did all that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, man, is Fred Hampton was a real one.
Yeah.
Malcolm X is real. These are real ones. And they always use our own people to take us down.
Yeah.
And we don't really see the significance until the end of it. And for him to be dying at the end, and now you want to confess, I have no sympathy at all for him at all.
I was confused because I was listening to the end the thing. He confessed on his dying bed 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So what took from him dying 11 years ago? So why would y'all bring it out now on the 56th anniversary of Malcolm's death? Like, why did you bring it out when he died? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you really You didn't tell us nothing but what we already knew.
Exactly. And see, that's the point. That's why this stuff is all designed.
Yeah.
What day was that? What day is that?
But it was the assassination of Malcolm X. Malcolm died on Valentine's. I think it was. Now his house got bombed on Valentine's Day.
Right. What day did he die?
Huh?
What day was that? It was like the 20. It was like, well, no, I think it was the 19th. I think, right?
Yeah.
When did this dude come out with all of this stuff? Like the 23rd or something?
Yeah, it was like the anniversary of the death. Yeah.
Yeah, the 19th. But they all came out after and on the 20th. Yeah. So I'm not. Dwayne can break all that stuff down with you with the Masonic rituals and stuff like. I can't do it, but he can do more to it. But it's very interesting these days that they drop on you, and they say all of this stuff. So, I agree with you 100%, man. He did this on his deathbed, and now it's just coming out. People release this stuff. You know, and who's to say that the FBI didn't tell him to release the stuff?
But let me ask you this. I forgot her name. Elaine Brown, I think it is.
Yes, yeah.
Huey's girlfriend. I heard she was an FBI informant also.
Absolutely. Elaine Brown is documented as being an FBI agent. So now we can get into conspiracy, and that's funny that you bring that up, Troy. I think in the next 3 weeks we're going to do all informants and conspiracy theories.
Because you know they've been doing that since Garvey. Like the guy that told him to buy them chips, that all these chips good, and them chips was like dead. You know what I'm saying? And they was like FBI informants. Like they've been doing this for us since like for day one.
Yeah.
Plantation.
What you got to realize, man, if a black Messiah ever rised up and people ever listen to him, some people's time is done, and they understand that. Yeah. So if you tackle, like, did you ever see the documentary Power to the People by the Black Panthers?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a very good documentary, but just ask yourself, because some people are dropping jewels in that documentary without saying a lot. Yeah. And I know, and see, a lot of these organizations, if you look at some of these organizations, you know, the recruitment of the organizations are very settled, because, you know, if you look, Fred Hampton was from the streets.
Yeah.
And people don't know Fred Hampton's uncle was involved.
Yeah.
And that's why Fred can go into the streets and do certain things, because they, out of respect for his uncle.
Yeah.
And then you look at a few people, you know, a few people, Eldridge Cleaver and all of those. These dudes are real dudes, man. Yeah. You know, people like Geronimo Pratt, known informant. Yeah. One of the originators, Huey P. Newton, known informant. Yeah. Bobby Seals, these guys, known informants. Yeah. So the thing about it is, it's not always, you know, Elena Brown, Angela Davis, all of them get caught.
He was in Congress. He was out there in Chicago. He was with Fred. He's in Congress for a while. I think Obama beat him out of his seat. What was his name? He with them glasses. What was his name? Bobby Rush.
Yeah, well, I always say, and somebody told me, a wise man always once said this, is if they still living and walking around or teaching at universities or anything, they were informants.
Yeah. My father used to always say, when the gunshot stopped ringing, firing, whoever was left standing was never a threat.
There you go.
Like, I try to tell people, like, my generation come and take it. A lot of people didn't know about Fred.
Right.
You know, like that. I knew that all my life. Like, because my family was involved in that. And a lot of our people don't know who our people are. You know? And it takes movies for them to find out. And when they say like my generation wanted to take Malcolm Martin and everybody in this one big movement where Malcolm criticized the civil rights movement heavy. You know what I'm saying? Well, he was telling the big secrets on them guys. You know what I mean? And my love for them is different than, because in my household, the civil rights thing wasn't worshipped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We was told like they sold the people out. For a lot of that they did, they sold, like we was told something different. So then when I deal with people today that they don't realize it was two different movements, you know what I mean? With the even the Panthers created a different movement because they didn't want to join the nation or be part of that because of what happened to Malcolm. So they became more extreme on their end. Like they became more political and not religious. You know, as far as the Panthers. And our people need to research our history and see the accomplishments of our people, because it's a lot of people you can name. You know what I'm saying? And I remember growing up, you remember people running around wearing X hats and medallions, even know who Malcolm X was.
Right. Right. I agree with you.
Because and actually this because for a lot of black households, they talked about the civil rights movement and killed everybody on the other side. Like didn't mention a lot of people didn't know about a lot of people.
Right.
And that didn't know a lot. They knew the civil rights part, but they didn't know the other half. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like important figures Malcolm X he was never mentioned too much in the black households. You know what I'm saying? Because I was shocked when he did come out and they were promoting him. A lot of people didn't know who he was. You know what I'm saying? Then they want to regular put him to a small that by any means necessary fit. I hate when they just put him to that, because he was deeper than just any means necessary. You know what I mean? He was a monster. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know about Khalif, the one that turned Kareem into a Muslim.
Right.
He was disrespecting the minister, Elijah Muhammad, and them black mafia boys, the Muslims from Philly went down to DC, and I think Kareem bought him a house, and they went down there and killed everybody in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't realize who Elijah Muhammad was to people. You know what I'm saying? That he took a lot of people out of the gutter, off of drugs. Like he would get people off of drugs without no medicine or nothing. And they don't give him credit for doing that. For cleaning
that's true.
People up and getting them off of drugs. You know what I'm saying? And when a person do something like that for you, you love him and you dedicated. And he had a lot of, and Malcolm knew, because he trained a lot of them dudes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like my father was telling me, Malcolm came up with the terminology "word is bond," meaning if me and you got beef, we handle that between brothers.
Right.
And when Malcolm left the nation, he stayed on the TV talking about Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. He stayed. I don't know if he did it so y'all can watch me, because I know they coming. But he kept mentioning, I think if he would have let that die, leave that alone, and went on about his thing, because people don't realize he never got kicked out of the nation. He silenced them, and during his silence, and he left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, what you said is true about the Nation of Islam, because me and Johnny work in the office together. We talk about this all the time, that the Nation of Islam is responsible for reforming a lot of black males, especially that come out of the criminal justice system, and black males in the community in general, because they teach you to be proud of yourself. They teach you to stand up as a black man. They teach you not to be seductive or anything like that. And that's not to say that other religions do it, because, you know, Christianity, Buddhism, any other religion is about discipline and self-discipline. So they're going to teach you reform too. So when I say that, I'm not knocking any other religions. I'm just saying that, you know, the Nation of Islam was built on nationality.
Yeah.
And nationality is the focus of building one nation.
Yeah.
So when the Noble Drew Ali was around, Noble Drew Ali was about building up nationality within itself, and going back to the Moorish aspect of taking your land back and your country back. Yeah. So we kind of missed that, and people don't realize that Elijah Muhammad was a student of Noble Drew Ali.
A lot of the bow ties and a lot of things he do, he took from that organization.
Yeah. And then Elijah Muhammad built this, you know, from the teachers of Master Farah Hamid, who also was part in the Moorish American movement. Yeah. They brought that to you. So the whole thing back again about Malcolm, in his aspect. So there's a lot of people that didn't like them. They thought they thought them was radical, and but that's what you have, because certain people know the dynamics of what is being done to them. And even people with Martin Luther King, people don't realize Martin Luther King wasn't a well-liked person in the South, because Black people experienced a lot of the racism that was really unseen up here. Not that we didn't have racism, but it was a little bit different there with the hangings, and you know, that's what that whole song "Strange Fruit" is about. But the thing about the ministers is ministers got tired of that, and they wasn't for the nonviolence movement. Like people say, a lot of people they didn't like him because of what he stood for. They was like, well, you got a voice now.
Hey, let me cut you off real quick. You got Lucius Smith on your page?
I don't know if I have him on the page. Why? He wants to come on or something?
Yeah.
While we set up what time is it? Why don't we set up another one? Why don't we set up another one for him? I can send you the link. You can send it one. We can come back on 8 so I can get work so people can see it.
Okay. When at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, and then we'll go from 8 to 8:45.
Okay then.
All right, I'm gonna do that right now. I got you, Troy. I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay then.
All right.